And it's great to be able to welcome to Interpol World Television Jerry Akubo from the Nigerian police. Now, Jerry, welcome to Interpol World Television.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you fit into the police in Nigeria and what it is that you actually do?
Well, for me, there are lots of things from the conventional policing operations to the technical operations. But basically, for the past 6 years or thereabout, I've been on the technical side of it, trying to see that the infrastructure we have that has to do with integrating the technologies on ground to the existing command and control systems are up and running. So for now, presently, I'm all out trying to get more solutions to see what's workable and what best fits for the African regional.
So what are the real technical challenges that you've got at the moment in Nigeria and therefore, I presume, through Africa?
Well, lots of technical challenges, though. First and foremost, we have to battle with the internet service provisioning, satellite availability, and operations deficiency that can't be overemphasized in terms of the crimes and criminalities that's ongoing, especially in the remote areas. Some of these areas are inaccessible, so you can't really get your way in there. So you need core technologies, and most of this technology has to do with satellite. You need internet to get across to these places, but then we have deficiency in these, and we're looking towards getting better solutions to get these things up and running. And partly that's why we are here in the Interpol world, to source out for solutions to get the best.
And have you seen the nature of crime in Nigeria changing over the years? What are the greatest threats for you?
Well, for us, the greatest threat is, first and foremost, just like I always say, crime has to do with the mindset of the populace. Essentially, the government presently is working towards changing the mindset of persons or people or the populace as a whole. So once the mindset is changed, there are lots of crime going uncontrolled, essentially, like the illegal oil bunkery, like the terrorist activities, though not in the metropolitan areas, in the deep northern axis. But then there are tendencies that once the mindset is controlled, then we can have less of these operations and crime burgeoning.
Yeah. Now, looking at your profile, one of your areas of responsibility or expertise is in the maritime environment. That must be a very difficult environment to police. What are the particular challenges that you have there?
In the maritime environment, you know, over 70% of the surface, essentially world over, it's a marine ecosystem, it's a maritime environment, it's a water-based. And for Nigeria, it's not a different case. Our major challenges lies in the Gulf of Guinea, where pirates activities are presently, though it's going on a reduced platform compared to 2 or 3 or 4 years back, because of the integration of the present government that's been able to set up the Falcon Eye technologies, which is domiciled with the Nigerian Navy, alongside the long-range interception systems and basically the radars that are set up. But one of our major challenges, as I mentioned earlier, is satellite availabilities. Solutions we have now could cover like close to 35 nautical miles within the maritime domain, and we'll have close to over 200 exclusive economic zones to cover. So you can see this is a massive challenge. Infrastructures need to come in.
You've common theme coming out of what you're saying is the difficulty in covering such vast areas, but I know that you've been looking at innovative unmanned aerial vehicle technologies which must be helping in that. Can you explain a little bit more about how you're looking at that to help enhance the policing activities in Nigeria?
Absolutely, that's cool, because for us now, especially for the developing countries and countries alike, when it comes to law enforcement agencies or law enforcement, innovative solutions are always sought after. And one of the core innovative solutions is the unmanned aerial vehicles or drone. Why? Because it's more or less a one solution fits all. It's a solution that can be integrated with AI. That's AI technology. It could be integrated with remote sensing, and it will also be integrated with satellite, all at the same time, to give you a comprehensive view of an environment, more like an awareness capability, depending on the sensors of the particular UAV and what kind of crime or what kind of scenario it really needs to get sorted.
Now you mentioned remote sensing. What sort of remote sensors and remote sensing do you do?
Yeah, essentially the remote sensing we do basically for the LEA, that's the law enforcement essentially, has to do with the Falcon Eye, which I earlier discussed. The Falcon Eye is more or less like a satellite with 6 optical sensors. And essentially when there are crimes or criminalities or when there are areas of interest for the law enforcement agencies, we focus this satellite to that very particular area. And what it does, it captures what's happening. It swipes over that very area and tells us, it gives us characteristics of what's happening at that very environment at all points in time. And these characteristics are captured and sent to the remote command and control centers. At the command and control centers, these things are set up on the system such that it gives you, based on the criteria that has been set up, you want to know which kind of people are coming in to this place at such some point in time. You want to know the routes they are taking. You want to know how they are moving, because these places are inaccessible most times for vehicles, because there's no vehicular movement. Then you want to get the route coming in, and the only option you use to get this is set up a remote sensing apparatus that will run through that very place for a couple of weeks, and this will be synced to the command and control center. Then at the command and control center, analysis will be done, and once this is integrated, then you put your analysis on the UAV and you can send it directly to the longitude, latitude, and the timing, which has to do with timestamp of what you intend getting from these environs.
Now you mentioned piracy coming in, but what's the threat from Al-Qaeda and so-called Islamic State-related terrorism, and do the same sort of policing techniques and remote sensing techniques help you defeat those threats as well?
Yeah, essentially, just like I said earlier, these threats are being curtailed presently with the present apparatus set up by the government in terms of having a predefined optical sensors that watch through these areas that are known as a black spot. Before now, they are blind spots. They are more like blind acts that are not viewable, because you can't get accessibility there. How can you see? How do you know what's happening there? But with the optical sensors now, these places are on constant watch. So whatever happens here or happens there is swiped and sent to the remote command and control center. And I think this is really, really bringing this crime trend to a lower platform.
Okay, so you're seeing the crime trend coming down,
yes,
the terrorism trend coming down as well?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
We've got a platform here at Interpol World where we've got representatives from 194 different nations, police forces together. Some people couldn't make it, but will be able to watch us on Interpol World Television. Absolutely. If you had 1 or 2 key messages that you wanted to leave the whole audience, whether they're here or whether they haven't made it, what would those messages be and why?
Well, for me, it's just one word, and that is we need to embrace collaboration, because that is the that's a bedrock of law enforcement world over. Because without collaboration, if countries happen to start an inter-rivalry platform of operations and work independently, then there's bound to be issues. And Interpol, it's a platform that brings together law enforcement agencies from different countries. It brings together academia as well as subject matter experts. And law enforcement, to get the best out of this, need to always come in upfront to see what they can get in terms of solution from this operation to take back to their member countries and see how they could integrate it to the existing system. And this will be good for all member countries.
Jerry, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you for giving up your valuable time to come and talk to us on Interpol World Television.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.